since the start of Formula One, we have seen innovations that have changed the sport forever, from the paddle gear shifts to the steering wheel to the double diffuser that allowed Brawn to win a world championship in their first and only season in 2009. Every single team wants to make their car the best they possibly can, and they cannot just have the same car year after year. Teams also cannot copy teams and get away with it lightly, unlike Racing Point in 2020 with their blatant copy of the 2019 Mercedes. Every single team on the grid with the new regulations has a very different car on the eye, but also on the floor, and things you cannot see in the car. Innovations have to happen to allow the sport to actually expand year after year as the cars get faster and faster. However, in recent years, the FIA seems to stop these innovations to try and attempt to make the sport more competitive and close. In today's video, we are going to talk about some of the innovations that the FIA have blocked, like DAS, and the changes to the front wing very recently. We will also discuss how we need innovations in the sport and they actually make it better, and how the FIA may have some favoritism towards a certain team. Let's get right into it. To start off with, we are going to talk about how the sport needs to have the innovations to allow it to grow and become more competitive. With Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport, but also the top of engineering, with the best of the best working in the top teams, working every day and night to develop the car to make it as fast as possible. Every single innovation is key and gives an advantage to the team's competitors. If the team can find a tenth of a second, they will try it, as it is key to making these little jumps within Formula One, as the sport is so close, as we know. The sport does need to be exciting to watch, and some of these innovations or gaps in the regulations allow for these dream stories to happen. Just look at Brawn, who was on the brink of not being a team, and then in their first and only season, they went on to win the championship. These stories would never happen if the FIA blocked this innovation, for example, and it makes the sport very unpredictable, with any team being able to win the championship if they get something right in development. It is also very important to have these little innovations, as it actually makes the sport much more competitive, as teams will want to beat each other, which will make the teams faster. Overall, it's pretty fair to say that we need to have these innovations to keep the sport at the high level it is right now. On to our next topic is how the FIA in recent years have blocked some of the innovations from happening by banning them a year after, or simply saying no, even though it is within the regulations. One prime example of this is the DAS system that Mercedes introduced for the 2022 season, which gave them a massive advantage over its competitors due to how good the innovations were. DAS was when the Mercedes drivers would pull and push on the steering column, which would mean the alignment of the front tyres. Now, you may ask, how on earth does this give Mercedes a massive advantage over its competitors? Well, on the straights, that would mean the tyres are heated more evenly, allowing them to go quicker on the tracks that had longer straights. Dual axis steering, as it was called, was the key to allowing Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton to dominate all of the opposition on his road to his 7th World Championship. However, for 2021 and beyond, the FIA decided that they would ban this innovation, which would really hurt Mercedes for the 2021 season, as they lost a good amount of performance to Red Bull as Verstappen won the championship. In 2021, there was a slight tweak to the regulations, which meant that the steering column could not be altered. The rest of the teams on the grid were happy, of course, but Mercedes were obviously annoyed, that's for sure. What are your thoughts on DAS? Should the FIA not have banned it for 2021? Would that have meant that Lewis Hamilton would have won his 8th World Championship? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Another innovation that was kind of blocked for one team and not the other is surrounding the front wing from the back end of the 2022 season until the start of the 2023 season. Mercedes brought their final upgrade package to the American Grand Prix, which allowed them to get data for the next season's car, which is a very good idea for sure. They brought several different parts that were allowed, but the main talking point was around their new front wing, which has the eyebrow-like parts in between the slot gaps of the wing. Now, a lot of people thought that this was against the regulations, which they were, and Mercedes were unable to use this particular front wing at all. However, something very interesting came to light when Ferrari revealed their car for the very first time. it was seen that Ferrari had the same eyebrow-like parts in between the slot gaps of the front wing, and they were very confident they were within the regulations and legal. They were able to run them all around through pre-season testing, which is very strange as to why Mercedes were not allowed to do it back at the end of last season. There have been no regulation changes for the front wing this year, so why would the FIA allow Ferrari and not Mercedes? Well, one answer is simply because the FIA does not want Mercedes to do well anymore, and there could be people at the FIA to do everything in their power to stop the team from succeeding. There is some evidence in this, as we have heard Lewis Hamilton on several occasions saying they are trying to stop me, more than likely talking about the FIA and how they police him and the team. Another possible reason why the FIA blocked Mercedes from doing this innovation and allow Ferrari to do it is they do not want more Mercedes dominance. Now, this seems stupid, but it is possible, as they have blocked things like DAS to try and make the grid more competitive, and they may be doing this with Mercedes. But what are your thoughts about this? Should Mercedes be allowed to use the front wing that they tried to use in America last year? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Finally, we're going to round up everything that we've talked about today and come to a conclusion if there is an FIA favouritism towards certain teams. The short and simple answer to that question is that no, but it is not impossible, that is for sure. The FIA are the governing body of the sport, and they are there to referee the sport and be impartial, but this may not always be the case. The FIA in recent years have been very strict towards Mercedes with their innovations, which you could say is favouritism, but is mainly just the FIA being very harsh. It is also very rare to see these massive innovations like DAS anymore. Most teams in the paddock want to play it safe, especially in the midfield where they cannot afford to waste money. However, it is very strange for the FIA to ban something for one team and allow it for another, whilst giving no explanation to the thousands of fans who want answers. Mercedes will clearly be very annoyed, as they will probably spend a good amount of time and money looking at the front wing whilst being within the regulations just to be shut down. There's clearly some performance to come out of it, and with Mercedes set to have a slow start to the season, we could possibly see them upgrade their car to add the eyebrows as early as Baku. Ferrari will be pleased, as they believe that this is the right thing to do and will give them performance, but also curious about why they were allowed to do it and Mercedes will not. Well, we do not have the answer to these questions until the FIA speak out. Is there favouritism in the paddock, or is it just all talk? Thank you very much for watching this video, and make sure that you like the video and subscribe to watch even more videos just like this one.